Okay. Okay. Welcome to Not Move Podcast. I'm your WNBA analyst, Moss Pride. Today I'm going to be doing a couple breakdowns, mid-season awards. I'm giving out big headlines. Of course, we just passed the All-Star game last night. That was a great game to watch. Some stat leaders and just some good storylines to get into. Right. So starting off, I want to talk about some of the storylines I'm paying attention to this season. Of course, Paige Beckers has been a huge one. And one pick in the draft. She's been our rookie of the year front runner. Of course, the New York Liberty, continue their dominance from coming off their title run. Of course, the rise of the Minnesota Lynx with Nafisa Collier leading the way, and the rise of Angel Reese in the last 2.5 weeks, maybe. And of course, CBA talks. They have a CBA deal coming up, talking about contracts, negotiations, and things of that nature, right? So, one thing I've noticed, especially starting off with Dallas, is Paige Beckers she's been a good defender. She has no holes in her game, but she has this thing where she plays a lot more team ball than when she could be dominant, and it's kind of hurting her team more than it helps it being a team player. Of course, Erika Ngubwale, next to her, she's a good scorer. I think she could pour more into the offense that's been going on. They have their struggles, of course, given they had the number one pick in the draft. Of course, they're not going to shoot to the top. But I think they way more capable than they've showed. So that's something there. The Liberty's got their big three going on. Stewie and crew. They've been playing good ball. They've been playing excellent ball actually. And so this is one of those teams where it's like a title or bust, right? We're contenders. We should be dominant in regular season. We should be able to go to the playoffs and have a good run, and we should be able to go to the finals and win it. As one of those teams were like similar to OKC in the NBA. Like you have no excuse where you shouldn't be winning the title, right? There's one of those teams, and it's been really interesting seeing the shift in the WNBA because the claim was we had our first WNBA super team, right? And so when you have the claim that the WNBA doesn't have that much talent, which isn't true, they have a lot of talent, but just to go with the claims, right? That creates a huge imbalance, and to see teams like the Aces and the Lynx still be able to play very good ball. Shout out to those players over there. It's really interesting to see, and I wonder how that all ties into the CBA deal, right? Because you get more eyes on the sport because of the Caitlin Clarks, whether y'all want to admit or not, because of the Angel Reese and the Nafisa Collier, Asia Wilson, got women like that, been dominating WNBA and been doing actually play very good ball. Paige Beckers too. And then you got people coming up, Juju Watkins coming in. This is in a very good spot. And I hope the CBA deal goes right because I want to see this game grow because it's been beautiful to see. In the last few years, last 7-8 years I've been watching. It's been beautiful to see, and of course player movement had something to do with it. I think that's an underrated factor when it comes to this. When player movement, I think that has a lot to do with it too. Also, hold on, let's talk about Angel Reese, man. She's been hated on, talked about, dogged out by so many, and she just continued to show up. And then her jump from her rookie year to the first week of the season, maybe week and a half to this stretch, she has been very dominant. She's upgraded as a playmaker. She's always been a good defender in my eyes. Excellent rebounder, whether we want to say me bounce, or she bounce, T bounce, anything coming off that glass, she's getting it, right? Leading the league in defensive rebounds. Her defensive rebounds almost equal to total rebounds of other players. One of the probably the greatest offensive rebounder in the sport, of course, on the women's side. And it's been great. It's been great to see her make that jump. One concern I do, the counterpart, right, her nemesis over the last few years, Caitlin Clark, it's been concerning watching her because she's been a dominant athlete for a while. Last 2 years, pretty much her whole college career, but more so her last 2 years in college, right? And she makes the jump to the WNBA, and she was dominant her rookie season, right? Won an MVP candidate, right? Then she goes on the stretch where she's constantly hurt. She isn't shooting the same. She has this huge turnover stretch where 6 turnovers is a good night for her type thing. You don't want to see that. So I want to see her get back to her regular self. I think she can get back to her regular self. She's facing a lot of she's realizing that Um, Teams in pro sports are not going to allow you to beat them. That's not going to happen, right? We seen it on the other side with Steph Curry. Like, we're not going to allow you to beat us. You can get all the wide open threes. You can get a bunch of wide open dunks. You're not going to beat us, and that's what's happening with her. Where it's like if she can't get to the basket easily, she's just going to shoot it from half court. Like she does. It's like she's not putting any work on offense anymore. If you notice, and it's leading to a lot of turnovers, a lot of horrible shooting percentages. She's not putting any work on the defense. That's been concerning to see. I hope she gets in the lab and kind of work on sliding her feet, staying in front of her man, and get more comfortable bringing the ball up the court and not just being lazy on offense, because that's essentially what's happening here. Some of the mannerisms has been concerning too with her, but I think she can get back to herself because again, she's a great athlete. Right now, I want to get into this MVP race. In my opinion, halfway through the season, of course, wrapping up All-Star weekend and whatnot, it's a two-man race, two-woman race. Asia Wilson and Nafisa Khalid, right? Both dominant offensive and defensive players. Nafisa leading the league in scoring. Asia Wilson leading the league in blocks. She's giving you almost 2 steals and 2 blocks a game. 22 and 10 almost. You know, she had 20-20 game this season. You know, I think Bamonte need to take her lead. Bamonte Adebayo, take her lead because she's hooping. I need you to hoop like she be hooping. But now, Nafisa Khalid, also a dominant defender. She's she's top 10 in steals and blocks. I think too. She's giving you 20 points and then guarding your best offensive player. Like so that's been great to see. You know, it's just great to see all this talent, man. And Nafisa Khalid and and the Lynx, they've been great. Williams, she's been a great She's been a great partner counterpart. You know, they all working together. Of course, even with Chelsea Gray, when she went down, Asia Wilson was able to keep the aces afloat, and that was great to see. You know, 10 rebound machine, 20-point machine. Powering off. That was great to see. And then of course I got into the rookie of the year a little bit. I want to talk about the rookies in Washington, the Mystics. They have been excellent, right? That's been great to see. Of course, Paige Beckers has been great to see. Paige Beckers, I can't talk more about Paige Beckers. She's been so excellent. I think she needed to take more shots. She had a few inefficient games over the last couple weeks, whatever. She's a rookie, but like giving us this type of playmaking and scoring while being an excellent on ball defender, right? She don't run from no smoke, right? She has no holes in her game. She can give you the 3 balls. She can play make. She can give you the mid range. She can get to the basket. And the one we saw her last night hit the 4 ball to open the game up. Like it was that was great to see. Of course, the rookies had missed. Both of them have been balling. Kiki, I can never pronounce her last name, so I'll just call her Kiki. Give you good 14 and 14, 8, 14 and 9 a night. You know, good for a rookie. Of course, very efficient shooting on her part. And I think we're moving to a great place when it comes to this, especially like looking at this draft class, right? You get more talent. Last year's draft class, you get more talent in. This is a great place. I want to see the rookie that got drafted to the Seattle. I think she was like 6'9", big girl, drop step and dunking. I want to see what she does. I want to see how she looks because she should be like Wilt Chamberlain in this league, right? Because how many players is that big and that strong who can handle it? Like she's doing standing dunks. Who's in the WNBA is stopping a standing dunk? Like it's not the size and strength you can do. Oh man, you have to stop that. Just a quick overview of the stat leaders. I'm reading off my notes here. Nafisa Collier, Asia Wilson, Kelsey Plum, all over 20 points. That's the top 3 leaders. Of course, Angel Reese is destroying rebounds by a wide margin, 12.6. You got Asia at 9, and Azura Evans at 8.5, 8.7. Assists, Alyssa Thomas, she's been great this season. Great playmaker. Caitlin Clark and Courtney Williams. I spoke about her a little bit earlier. She's one of those do-it-all players too. I'm really impressed with her. Those assist leaders, 9.5, 9 and 6, pretty much. The 3-point makes. You got Ryan Howard, Kayla McBride, Kelsey Plum, and Sabrina actually tied. No surprise there. Both all these excellent shooters. Blocks. Asia Wilson, of course, lead that. Alana Smith, and then Stills, Gabby Williams. Derek Hamby. both good on ball defenders. And I want to. Okay, so here's my top 10 players, right? So far, these top 10 that I like. These are my top 10, right? These top 10 that I like. Just get into top 10. Nafisa Collier, of course, I love Nafisa. Aja Wilson, Breonna Stewart, of course, we love Stewie. Alyssa Thomas, Angel Reese with her rise, Kelsey Plum, Jewel Lloyd, Sabrina Ionescu. Love those two. Arika Ongobwale. I said her name earlier. I've been a fan of her for years. And of course, Paige Beckers. All of these players, like, they have something that stick out. Like Arika Ongobwale is, of course, the bucket that she is. Nafisa Collier is a consistent number one option and one of the best on-ball defenders in the league. Excuse me. Aja Wilson, enough said. I talked about her earlier. Breonna Stewart, I mean, come on. What else do you got to say? One of the best defenders in the NBA, one of the best rebounds, because one of the best bigs in the NBA, period, right? We talked about Alyssa Thomas. Angel Reese, we talked about her too. Kelsey Plum, great player. All of these guys are great players. All of these gals are great players. Don't want to talk in circles here. But and our Moss Woman of the Week, Moss Prize, Moss Woman of the Week is Nafisa Collier. She, of course, in playing at the MVP level, she had 36 last night in the All-Star game. Skylar Diggins-Smith, triple-double All-Star game. She's one of the Moss Women of the Week, too. Both of them, Skylar Diggins-Smith and Nafisa Collier. That's the first two award winners of Moss Women of the Week. So congratulations to those ladies, being good defenders, being good scorers. Of course, Skylar Diggins-Smith being the playmaker that she is. And, those are the first award winners, right? Some of the top performances in the last couple of weeks. Excuse me. Sorry. Some of the top performances the last week. Paige Beckers against Indiana. She had the 21-point game. She was, playing good defense there. Excuse me. Kelsey Mitchell had a good game against the Aces, and the Dream. Looking at that game right now, through my notes. She had a stretch where she was averaging 23. Jewel Lloyd had a few good games. Very, very, very proud to see those, players kind of up the ante. This very good week of WNBA basketball. All-Star game. I really love the All-Star game. The 3-point contest. I almost skipped over 3-point contest. Wow. 11 straight shots. 30 points. She cooled off in the last rack. Right. Sabrina. She cooled off in the last rack. She lit the 3-point contest up. That was that was Steph Curry performance. I don't know what year it was. He got hot. He had like 34 points in the 3-point contest. That was reminiscent of that. 11 straight shots in 3-point contest. That was very good to see. Of course, I talked a little bit about 36 point Nafisa Collier had the triple double on the other side. The score was they scored like 200, maybe 300 combined points that game. 250, 300. I said 200, low ball in it. I think they had 300 combined points that game, and it was great. It's great to see, this talent, and I think it's been overlooked, right? Because we want to see, the dunks and all this, and then it's you watch good defensive execution in this league. You watch good playmaking in this league. You see great rebounding from Angel Reese, heavily criticized, right? I think as a people, we need to come and appreciate this sport more, because, man, this is a great sport to watch. And it's like, when you really tune in, I think you gotta get an understanding of the game before you tune in. Not even the understanding of because we all watch basketball, right? But I think you need to get an understanding of how the taste of the WNBA before you tune in, because it's a very unique sport. Even though it's basketball, it's very unique and it's very competitive. And too many times we see these headlines of, are we too rough on Caitlin Clark? The thing with RG3 and Angel, we see too many of those headlines, and it's taken away from the beauty of the actual sport itself. And we need to pour our energy back into the positivity of the sport, right? Get a good taste of what's going on here, because it's a lot of good things going on in the sport. So, I advise you, just check a good game out. go to a game maybe. Like it's some good energy. I think once more fans actually get a good taste and look at the game with more positivity, of it'll grow, because we have the same issue in the NBA too. But the thing is, the WNBA is technically still a baby, right? Been around less than 30 years, probably just hitting 30 years, right? So it's a completely different outlook on that sport, because when it's not when it's not cultivated enough, like it's not deep rooted in the culture enough, you don't have that. You don't have the balance, right? The NBA has the balance. We need more balance, and we need better coverage too. I don't think we get enough coverage in the WNBA. So here I am stepping into the spotlight trying to fix that problem, right? You know, but yeah, I think I'll end it off there. I appreciate y'all for stopping by. I should be here next week too. This is my pride covering the WNBA, and we're out.